Hey guys, well, what a mad 24 hours it's been. So much information has come out about Bryan Kohberger. I feel like I know him well. I've done nothing else in the last 24 hours apart from sleep and glean information about Bryan Kohberger. So I'm here for a chat, here just to have a New Year's Eve chat. It's currently 6:15 in the evening here, so got less than 6 hours of 2022 to go. I'm guessing for most of you, there'll be a little bit longer than that. But my son's gone out for the night, so I've got the night to myself. So I thought I'd hop on here for an hour or two and have a chat about Bryan Kohberger. So got some things to share, but mainly opinion, to be honest, mainly opinion. I did post a video this afternoon, but YouTube, for the 4th time in about 10 days, and that's no exaggeration, it's put my video on limited monetization. So it's been flagged by the YouTube algorithm for dodgy content. So it's on members only for now. I'll make it available to everybody as soon as it's approved, because it will be approved. What you've got to do when a video gets flagged is you've got to appeal the decision of the bots that are in control of YouTube, like the AI, which isn't very intelligent. And you've got to request a human review. So when an actual human reviewer listens to the video, that's someone's job. Guys, that's someone's job. Imagine having that job, watching YouTube videos for a living. Yeah, once a human listens to it, they'll realize that it doesn't break any community standards and they'll approve it. But it annoys me. It's just started to really annoy me. So it's on members only. So it was a long video. It's like longer than my usual videos. It's about 30 minutes long. And it's packed full of information of what I've been thinking about and learning about Bryan Kohberger. So what I don't want to do in this video is just basically say everything again that I said in that video. So it's going to be a little bit difficult for me. But what I want to try to focus on is some of the things that have been said about him, which I talked about in my video this morning. I had a collection of quotes and things that people have been saying, but there's one in particular that I want to focus on. And that is somebody who knows him, who says that he thinks he's super smart. And it's my opinion that he thought he was so smart that he could outsmart the cops. So I want to talk about that. And I want to talk about serial killers. And that's what SK stands for. I do note that there's a comment here from Julie saying, what's SK? Serial killer. So just saying a word serial killer will probably get this video flagged as well. But hey ho. Oh, dear me. It's insane. YouTube treats its viewers like a 10. I mean, honestly, YouTube is so scared of pissing off the advertisers that it believes it's super woke and flags everything, like the word killer. I mean, come on now. Right. Anyway, talk a little bit about serial killers, because it's my opinion that Bryan Kohberger was a serial killer fan. And I've got a reason for saying that, but I want to talk about that. But let's see who's in the house first. Bug Love, hello. Holly, hello. RZTV, hello. Rebel with a Shih Tzu. That's great now. Julie, Kathy, Camelot. Happy New Year to you as well. Happy New Year to everybody. Happy New Year. Steph, Jane, Angel talks too fast. Ashley, Dawn. Thank you, Angel, for the $10. Thank you for your hard work. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Check out Angel's channel. She's got a channel, so go and check her out. She does live streams. Wendy, hello. Deborah, Juju, Freebird, Laced in Chains. Hey, hey. Heather Feather. Heather Feather. There's an ASMR channel called Heather Feather. Is that you? I think it's someone else, but I used to watch ASMR videos back in the day when I was really stressed because they chilled me out. And there was this creator called Heather Feather. And then she completely disappeared. Like, she just completely stopped making videos. But it was just the same name. Holly, hello. Grandmother Crone, Shauna, Down Under with Love. Happy New Year. It will actually be January 1st, won't it, for you? So you're now in 2023. You're a year ahead of us all. Melinda, Pink Volo, Beth, Whiskey Boots, hoping for answers. Look, we're all hoping for answers. We're all hoping for answers. We inch it forward. We inch it forward. Angel Baby, Those Walls of Eyes, and everybody else who's coming in. So I know that there's about 50 million live streams going on at the moment, some of which I will check out later. But yeah, I think everybody's just going live talking about this case. It's just been a crazy, crazy, crazy 24 hours. Eileen H, welcome to memberships. Welcome to Secret Agents Club. You're very, very welcome. If I get 1,000 likes on this stream, I will give some memberships away. I will give some memberships away. So, yeah, I don't know how many people I'll get in the stream. I might not even get close to 1,000, given that there's a lot of competition at the moment. It's not really competition, is it? But there's lots of lives that people could be watching, so it splits the membership, rather the viewership up. Okay, so this is what Cass Jas, thank you for becoming a member. Welcome to the Secret Agents Club. Welcome, welcome. Now, if you've got any questions, feel free to ask. I do have the chat on slow mode so that me and the moderators can watch this chat reasonably well. It's not going too fast as it is, but do feel free to ask questions if you want to. I'm not promising that I'll be able to answer every question, or I'll even see every question, because once I kind of start sharing content, then I'm distracted. So, you know, it does get a bit difficult. But he thought he was smarter than cops. I truly believe this guy is a narcissist. I truly believe it. Not just because of the profile that I did of this killer. What was it? About 3 weeks into the case, I did a video where I went through a profile. And it was just a profile that I put together based on psychology, based on the little bit we knew about the case at the time. And I've not had any reason to change that profile. However, now we have a suspect in custody and we have lots of information coming out. What I want to do is review that profile and amend it as necessary and make a much more specific profile about this person, about this person's personality, and I think we can inch forward in our knowledge. Cecile, thank you. Do I still think it was his first human unaliving? I don't know. That's one of the things that I'm not sure about. I definitely think that, and this is something else I discussed in the video today that the majority of you won't have seen yet, but excuse me, I said in that video that what I said last week, I said it in a couple of videos last week, that this is a very, very dangerous person. And if he's not caught, he is a serial killer. He is a budding serial killer. But every serial killer has their first time. So it's a very radical, extreme way to start a serial killer career, like unaliving 4 people at once in a brutal fashion, a really brutal fashion. So I'm not sure, to be honest with you, Cecile. I'm not sure. I wonder whether I believe that there's been lower level crimes. I really believe that there's been lower level crimes that he's been doing that he's not been caught for. But as in committing a murder before, I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me, but I'm not going to say yes. So that's where I am with it at the moment. Thank you so much, Tessa, for the €11.99 super sticker. I've got the chat on my iPad as well, so I can see what the super stickers look like, because on StreamYard you don't see the super stickers, and it's a dancing avocado, #1 fan. Thank you, Tessa. Okay, I've got a good question here. Did he imitate Jeffrey Dahmer and Ted Bundy? Ted Bundy, I think so. Jeffrey Dahmer, no. Jeffrey Dahmer was a very, very different type of killer. Jeffrey Dahmer, if you remember, you're not a member, are you? But for members, for those of you that are members, especially those who are new members who might not have gone back and had a look at the previous members only lives that I've done. A few weeks ago now, it's actually the last members live I did, because I've been so busy not being able to fit members lives in, which is a shame. But I promise faithfully, it's one of my New Year's resolutions to provide more content for members in 2023. I've got a blooper video waiting to come out as well, by the way, but it's on my other computer, which I brought yesterday. So I've got to wait, because I've actually done it. It's just on that computer, and I haven't saved it anywhere else. So once my other laptop's fixed, which I stood on and brought yesterday, I've got to wait till Tuesday to take it in, because it's a bank holiday on Monday in the UK. So yeah, as soon as I get that back, I can just upload that video. It's funny. It's a very funny blooper video for members. But yeah, a few weeks ago, I did a members only live about Jeffrey Dahmer, and it was a long live. It's about 3 hours long. And I went into real detail about all the killings and stuff. So go and watch that if you remember, because I know quite a lot about Jeffrey Dahmer. Jeffrey Dahmer is probably one of the first, if not the first, serial killer that I took real interest in and learned a lot about his crimes years and years ago now. And then when the Netflix thing came out a few weeks ago, I went back to Jeffrey Dahmer. Thank you, Angel Talks Too Fast, for gifting 5 memberships. Thank you so much. So we do have 5 new members. So 5 new people can watch that live. Thank you, Angel. You're so kind. I don't know who got them. It doesn't show me on StreamYard when somebody gifts memberships. But anyway, welcome to those new members. I don't know who's got them. It's difficult to see on my iPad because I've got bad eyesight. Anyway, yeah, so Jeffrey Dahmer I don't think Jeffrey Dahmer was a psychopath. I think Jeffrey Dahmer was genuinely remorseful. Once he got caught, and he knew that his killing spree was over, I think he was genuinely remorseful. Whereas somebody like Ted Bundy was a genuine psychopath. If he was alive today and could be measured on the dark triad, I think Jeffrey Dahmer would score massively high on the Dark Triad. And for those of you who don't know what the Dark Triad is, the Dark Triad, I did a video actually the other day about the Dark Triad, so go and watch that. But it's somebody who is highly narcissistic, highly Machiavellian, which means that they like power and control, and measure high on psychopathy. And those three sets of personality traits in the same person creates a very dangerous individual. And I believe that Ted Bundy would have measured high on all three, right? Highly narcissistic, completely loved himself, loved the power and control. You could just tell in court, when he was in court, you could just tell he loved to engage the media. He thought he was cleverer than everybody else. He escaped and went on the run for a while, didn't he? And went and lived in the forest or mountains or whatever. And he was a psychopath, a true psychopath. So these two are very different types of people. But I think that Bryan Kohberger, if he hadn't have been caught, I think he would have been another Ted Bundy. I truly believe it. Truly, truly believe it. I said it early on in the case, and I'm going to stand by that. Got some new members here. Toonie May, welcome to the Secret Agents Club. Becca Ramsey, thank you for the $5 Canadian. That's very kind of you. Who else have we got? Windwalker, welcome to the Secret Agents Club. Sly Cat, welcome, welcome. Maddie Joe, thank you for the £10 and the hippo in the computer chair. I've eaten so much over this Christmas period. I'm feeling a lot like a hippo, I have to say. I think it's a hippo anyway. But yeah, so those new members, those that were gifted and those that have joined, go and watch the Jeffrey Dahmer live. Just go and find it. It's in I have a members only playlist, but it'll also be in my live streams playlist as well. So now you remember, you can just click on it and watch it like you can any other replay. So that's a great question. Great question. And actually, it brings me on, actually. I found this on Twitter. You know, Twitter's great, isn't it? Twitter's great. Just let me share my screen here. And it made me think. This is just what someone made on Twitter. Okay. So just someone's opinion, but I just thought it was interesting enough to save. John Wayne Gacy, that's another guy who I believe would have measured really high on the Dark Triad. But apparently, asked after his arrest, did you arrest the others? And remember what Bryan Kohberger did yesterday. Brian Entin reported on it. He asked if anyone else had been arrested. And we were all speculating, weren't we? Right? You know, when Brian Entin and other news outlets reported on it about what he'd allegedly said. This is only an allegation of what he said. Thank you, Molly, for the $10. That's very kind of you. Thank you so much. And we were all speculating. The whole social media was speculating on whether there was somebody else, whether there was an accomplice or even a group of people. And Brian was, inquiring as to whether the other people in his little club, his little killer club, had been caught. But I thought about it, and isn't that just a way to confuse the cops? Isn't that just a way to have a little bit of control over the situation and have them doubt, have them think that there's other people involved that they've not caught yet? And for him to secretly sit in his cell laughing to himself that the cops are now really confused, and him thinking and fantasizing that they'll now be chasing the tails, trying to find possible accomplices. I believe he's a lone wolf. And what he said, if it's true, obviously it's an allegation, but you know, it's come from a source that Brian Entin obviously credited. It's a little bit of a power trip, in my opinion. So it's interesting that John Wayne Gacy said something similar. Cole 1603, welcome to the Secret Agents Club. Welcome to the Secret Agents Club. Not in anonymous, not in a frat to our knowledge. I did see something that he had been a member of a fraternity. I did see it. Now, where on earth did I see it? Where on earth did I see it? Do you know what? I've looked at so many things. My computer, because it's not the one that I normally use either, is in complete disarray, completely disorganized. But there was something about him being in a fraternity, but it wasn't Sigma Chi. It wasn't any of the ones that, you know, we've been talking about in this case. And it may not even be true, or even may not even be relevant. So, anyway. And then this, and I'm not too sure that this is necessarily relevant, but I just thought it's an interesting anecdote. Charles Manson's birthday was November the 12th. And it was indeed. I had to go and look it up, but it was indeed. He was born November 12th, 1934. And he died on November 19th. So he died within like a week of when he was born. So a week of, you know, he didn't die within a week. It would have actually probably been nice for history if he'd have died when he was a week old. I don't mean that. He died within his birthday week. So I don't know. The murders were committed on the night of the 12th to the 30th, like the early hours of the 13th. I don't know about that. I think that could be relevant, John Wayne Gacy. And then Ted Bundy. Claire, member for 8 months. Well done. Thank you so much. Caught me live. You did indeed. You did indeed. And then Sarah, welcome to Secret Agents. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, Sherry. The guy was following in the footsteps of serial killers. He was a lone wolf. I believe he was a lone wolf. Anyway, Ted Bundy. Ted Bundy, one of his kills, right, was a sorority house. So he checked into a room close to this sorority house so he could observe these women coming and going, get to know their pattern. And then in the early hours of January 15th, around 2:45, Bundy crept inside the Chi Omega sorority house through a back door. And he killed, remind me, how many people he killed? Was it 8 women he killed? Jodie, Charles Manson's birthday was November 13th. Was it? Wikipedia tells me it was November 12th, but I'll believe you. It's interesting, though, that Brian clearly didn't choose. I mean, my opinion, but it's a strong opinion that he did not just pick that house at random without doing any research on it at all. You know, to break in with a knife and just start killing people without having an idea of even how to get in, how to navigate his way around, who might be in there. You know, it could be a house full of big, burly, butch guys who would have overpowered him very quickly, right? So he's had to have done some research on this house, even if he doesn't know them, you know, even if he wasn't a friend, you know, because he was a little bit old, quite a few, well, 28, so not very much older than, you know, Kaylee and Maddie were both 21. It's only 7 years in it, wasn't it? So within the, you know, within the kind of ballpark of their ages, they could have gone to parties, you know, the same parties. They could have gone out at in the same bars. We just don't know. We don't know that level of detail yet. But entered through a back door, committed the murders, around the same time, probably just after 3, between 3 and 4. So crept in the middle of the night and killed 4 people. It's uncanny. It's uncanny, that similarity. And I picked up on that early on in this case, and I stand by it, that if he had not have been caught, he would have been another Ted Bundy, and he would have loved it. He would have loved the notoriety. He would have loved the watching. I mean, because it's better now, you know, for somebody who's narcissistic and Machiavellian and likes the notoriety. It's better now than when Ted Bundy was doing his killings because of social media. So there's no doubt in my mind that Bryan Kohberger hasn't been watching lives and watching social media. I think he's been watching everything. And as a criminology student, I bet he's been talking about it. I bet he's been talking about it in his classes. It's terrifying thought, but that's what I believe. Victoria, welcome to Secret Agents. Crystallized Ice has been a member for 8 months. Definitely Lone Wolf, says Crystallized Ice. Grandma Bunny, welcome to the Secret Agents Club. Welcome, welcome. I don't know whether he looks like him. He has a stare that reminds me a little bit of Bundy. Kind of a little bit smug, like his booking photo, his mugshot. Do you not think he looked a little bit smug? Right, I'll show it you. Brian Entin described it as a dead stare or a blank stare, but I think there's some smugness in it. I mean, it's just obviously my opinion, but look at this. Look, there's like just something in his face. He doesn't look upset, does he? Look, there's a tinge, in my opinion, of something in his eyes. Just something in his eyes. Some speculation going around about his presence at the grub truck before the girls arrived. I don't know if that's him or not. That stream, that Twitch stream that the grub truck guys were doing is 4 hours long. And I've got to tell you, I've got to admit that I haven't watched the whole 4 hours. I got the whole one. I got the whole 4 hours and then just flicked through it until I found where Maddie and Kaylee and Hoodie Guy came in, and then I just copied that. So you'd have to give me a timestamp and let me have a look at it. And I don't know. Does he have a public defender? I believe he does. I don't know who they are though. I haven't looked into that. Who his defence is. But he's in court on Tuesday for his extradition hearing, so I'll look into it then. Posing, exactly. Yeah. Well, yeah, it's not so much Duper's Delight anymore. I think probably for the last, 6-7 weeks, he's been walking about with Duper's Delight. Defiant, yeah, maybe. He still thinks he'll get away with it. Possibly. I think, yeah, flat. I think there's a twinge though. There's a twinge of something. I think it's more in his eyes than anything else that I can see. But yeah, I think he'll plead not guilty. No, not well. Actually, yeah, we've heard from an aunt, one of his aunts, but we haven't heard from his immediate family. Brian Entin went to the door. It's something else I talked about in my video this morning. Brian Entin went to the door and spoke to his dad. I think it was his dad. And his dad told him to get off the property. So Brian left. So we've not heard from his immediate family. So, well, we know that he's possibly a heroin user, or at least an ex-heroin user. And if you saw the short, it was just a TikTok that I put on Michelle Walks. I'll play it if you want. I put it on Michelle Walks last night. Somebody who was a friend of his in high school said that he was using heroin when he was in high school. So I'll play it. It's only a minute long. I have to find it. Here we go. All right.
My brother was really good friends with him. My other friend, Brandon, was really good friends with him. I'm going to have a picture of him with him on the green screen as well. I'm shaking still. But anyway, let me show you. This is Brandon, the one I was just talking about. It's his wife, Brianna, and that's me. This was back in 2017. Obviously, that's Brian. Still has the dead face that it's thighs. I don't know. But when I spoke to him back in 2017, he was clean. He was a heavy heroin user back in high school. And it was just nice to see the kid clean up. And at that time, he said he was doing security detail. I believe it was out of school is what he told me. But he seemed like he was better. Obviously, that wasn't true. Here's another picture from a party that we had at Brandon's house. That's Brian there. He used to be a bigger kid as well. But again, that's him. And then at the same wedding, I'm here, but he's back there. He was out sitting at the same table as me and my mother. But he is back there enjoying a drink. I was sitting right next to him and we talked. He seemed fine. My mom sent me the old school yearbook. That was him. Bryan Kohberger, that's him. He went to Pleasant Valley. Graduated with, I think, my friend Christopher, a year younger than me. This is when he nonchalantly decided to make me drive him around the Poconos for heroin, and I had no idea. I thought I was just doing a nice deed because he needed something, and it turns out that he was getting heroin.
Yeah, she's made a few TikToks. I just put one up there. So you can listen to that again if you want on Michelle Walks. I think a few creators got it as well. Emily, member for 14 months. Wow, you're one of my oldest members, I think. Thank you for all your support. Happy to see you all. Thank you for your continued support to the channel. It's very kind. So she came with receipts. So this woman is called Cassie. She's also been interviewed by the media and talked a little bit more about how she knew him and some information about him. But she brought the receipts, like there's pictures of her and him in the same photo. Yeah, so he was actually a friend of her brother, but she knew him. I think she was a year older than him, or I think she said a year older than him. And she knew that he was a heroin user in school. And I think that his weight fluctuations, if you look at pictures of him, I mean, I'll show you some. And again, I did this morning. I feel like I'm just repeating everything that I did this morning, but while I'm here, might as well show you. None of you are going to watch that video now once it's approved. But there's a lot more to that video. It was a long video. But if you look at the weight fluctuations of him, so this was someone, again, another guy who knew him at school. So someone called Nick, who was a little bit younger than him at school. And this was apparently when he was in junior high. So you can see here, definitely the same person, but a lot heavier. I mean, you can't see how heavy he was, but I think he's overweight there. I mean, you know, he's pretty chunky as a teenager. And then this was when he was a senior high, and just look how different he looks. And this Nick person was interviewed by the Daily Beast, and said that he was overweight when he graduated his junior year, but at the start of senior year, he was thinner than a rail, and he turned aggressive. And he always wanted to fight somebody. He was bullying people. He started cutting him off because he was 100% a different person. So I think maybe at that point he'd started abusing heroin, perhaps, and that's accounting for his weight loss. Windwalker, thank you for the $1.99. It's very kind of you. But look at this photo. This is from his university when he did his undergraduate. These are just screenshots I've got from Facebook groups. Thank you, Seeking Rainbows, for the $4.99. Keep it up with the dancing avocado, doing weights. Steroids will put weight on you, Granny Goose, not make you lose weight. And you tend to use steroids. I'm going to admit, the only drugs that I've ever dabbled with are anabolic steroids. I'm going to admit it. Because I was an ex-martial artist, and there were certain classes of anabolic steroids when I was doing martial arts and weights that were legal. I never took anything illegal. Never have. I smoked marijuana a few times, like literally a handful of times, that it makes me faint. So I've never used any drug, never. But I did dabble with various anabolic steroids in my 20s when I was doing a lot of martial arts and weights. So I know what it feels like to be on steroids. I know what it feels like. And it increases your strength like you would not believe, right? Literally, I would have been in my late 20s, and I could bench press and do dumbbells that were the same. I could compete with my partner that I had at the time. I could lift the weights he lifted. And there was a young guy who thought he was so strong and stuff, who lived across road from us. And he used to come over and we used to do weights together, and I could lift heavier than him. And he was maybe 23, 24, and I probably would have been maybe 29, 30 at the time. So he was younger than me, probably fitter than me in some aspects, but I could do dumbbell and barbell heavier than him, weights heavier than him. And I was only dabbling. I wasn't taking them to excess. I didn't use them for a lot, consistently. I'd just take them for like a period of time. It's called bulking. And then I'd stop, because it's bad for your body, obviously, to take them consistently. So I'd bulk for a few weeks, and then I'd stop, and then I'd bulk for another few weeks. I must have put on about maybe a stone and a half of pure muscle. And I felt absolutely fantastic. But people that knew me recognized that I was different. Now, I was never aggressive, never aggressive with it, but I can honestly say that I felt distant. That's the best way to describe it. I felt distant, and I felt less caring. And my partner at the time, like, we're no longer together, not been together for a long time. And actually he's passed away now. But he said that he hated it when I was taking the steroids, and he used to take them as well. He used to take the same ones I did, and he bulked up, and I never noticed any change in him at all. Now, I don't know whether that's because I didn't notice because I was on the same things, But I never noticed any difference in him, but he said he noticed a difference in me about how distant and potentially hostile I'd become. And I think if I'd probably got into a fight, I would have gone totally overboard. But I was never aggressive. I was never like an instigator of aggression, ever. But I use them purely for bulking, for weights, and for strength and stamina in martial arts. And so I know what it feels like to be on steroids, even though it's 20 odd years ago now, over that, what, 25, I don't know. My youngest son's 20, and it was before he was born. So I dabbled a little bit after he'd been born, when I'd kind of finished breastfeeding and I was getting back into training. I dabbled a little bit then, but not for any length of time. But anyway, if somebody's on steroids, it doesn't turn them. It doesn't change your inherent personality. What it does is heightens certain features, I think. So in terms of steroids, this is not a steroid user. This is not a steroid user, but neither is this. Neither is this guy. So if he was taking steroids, it certainly wasn't noticeable on his face. This looks like somebody who is gaunt, somebody who is seriously underweight. And I don't know whether that's through dietary restriction or due to drug use. Like heroin will take weight off you, meth will take weight off you, cocaine will take weight off you if you're doing it consistently, because you don't eat, right? This was in 2020. This photo was taken in 2020, and that's how underweight he was. Just the look of him, he looks gone, in my opinion. Snook, welcome to Secret Agents. Welcome to Secret Agents. Juju, had to go on steroids for my lungs, and it was way too high, and I had evil thoughts. Wow. I don't know how that would kill someone. The steroids that you'll get for medical condition, they're called corticosteroids. They're a different family of steroids than the type of anabolic steroids that you would take for bodybuilding. The ones that you take for bodybuilding are artificial testosterone, or testosterone-like hormones, or pro-hormones. Corticosteroids are a different family. They're still steroids, but they're a different family. But people do claim that if you take corticosteroids for a certain length of time, then it will change your thought process, change your patterns. I think it's very individual, though. I've only ever taken corticosteroids once. I had a few years ago, I had a really bad asthma attack. I had a really bad chest, really bad asthma attack. And the doctor gave me, what's the name of it? It begins with a P. Prednisone. Gave me prednisone. And it was just a 5-day course. And I felt fantastic off it. I felt fantastic. And I did for about a month. Even after I'd stopped taking them, I felt fantastic. But a completely different feeling than when I was on taking anabolic steroids. And like I said, I never really abused steroids anyway. I would take them in just kind of relatively small doses, just for a few weeks to bulk, and then I'd stop, and then I'd do another few weeks. There was never any kind of addiction or anything. They're not addictive. They're not an addictive substance anyway. So that picture concerned me when I saw that. But he does look like he's put on a little bit of weight now. Prednisolone. It could have been that, actually. I'm sure it was prednisone. But anyway. I don't know what point I was making there, honestly. But, oh, yeah, talking about steroids. Made you feel so productive, did it? It made me feel great, honestly. And it was only a five day dose. Yeah, I was hungry. And I couldn't sleep. So yeah, probably if I'd have taken them for, any length of time, I probably would have been very productive because I wasn't sleeping. I just felt really good, felt really high, but in a comfortable way, not in a like a manic kind of way. It's like a comfortable way. So, okay. It's very common drug that people take. Oh, really? Honestly, corticosteroids, some people can handle them really easily and really well, and some people just can't. They just don't get on with you. You just can't take them without being really ill or really different. It's interesting. There you go. Taking it for eczema makes you feel good. Kind of a focus feeling. Yeah. Yeah. That's a good way to describe it, honestly. Good way to describe it. All right. So I think like the kind of real thing that I want to talk about is I think that he thought he could get away with this. This is why I believe he'll plead not guilty. This is why I believe that he thinks he thought he was going to get away with it. And it fits my profile of somebody who's narcissistic, but it's also something that has been talked about in the media. So thank you, Emily, for the flying avocado and the 10 US dollars. This is in the New York Times, I think. Yeah, New York Times. And this was an interview with someone that knew him. So the journalists have been working so hard getting these interviews. So this is someone called BK Norton, who was in the same graduate program as Mr. Kohberger, and said that he continued attending classes after the killings had occurred, but seemed more animated at that time than he had been earlier in the semester. I mean, what on earth? And this person said he seemed more upbeat and willing to carry a conversation. She said Mr. Kohberger was interested in forensic psychology. He was quiet, intense demeanor, but made people feel uncomfortable, as he had comments that he'd made against LGBTQ people. So I don't know what the nature of that would have been, but making people feel uncomfortable does not surprise me at all. I mean, somebody who is quiet and intense can put people on edge anyway, because you're not really sure what they're thinking. But if you're starting to make comments that people don't like, then obviously that puts people even more on edge. He sort of creeped people out because he stared and didn't talk much. But when he did, it was very intelligent, and he needed everybody to know he was smart. That is a killer sentence. If that's true, and there's no reason to believe that this isn't true. I mean, yeah, there might be the occasional person who gets interviewed by a reporter and makes up a load of lies, right? But that doesn't seem out of the realms of possibility for me at all. Right, that's the kind of thing I think he would say. So there's another person here, someone called Andrew, who's a graduate student who lived in the same building as him, said he briefly met him in August or September, The two spoke about their degrees and where they were from. Mr. Kohberger had appeared to be excited to continue his studies. He was really passionate about what he was doing. Well, I bet he was. Yeah. Another graduate student who wished to remain anonymous said that he was interested in studying policing. Had few friends, appeared to want to socialise, but made offensive remarks in the past that had left him somewhat isolated. So I thought they were really interesting. These were from people who've been willing to talk to the New York Times, who either lived in his building. The building is in Pullman. It's an apartment complex in Pullman, and it's actually on Washington State University grounds. So it's a campus building. And cops have been in. They were in all day yesterday, searching, taking out stuff. There was an interesting interview with somebody on News Nation. What's her name? Nancy, I think her name is. And she was there because Brian's in Pennsylvania, so she was there, and she said that they brought out computers, suitcases, speculating that the suitcases would have been kind of almost like evidence lockers kind of thing. So they'll have taken swabs of everything. So they'll be forensically examining that apartment. And they've also gone to the university and searched his office as well. So they're leaving no stone unturned. The amount of work that's going in to securing a conviction in this case, in my opinion, is absolutely astonishing. Astonishing, the amount of work that's going into it. Steph, welcome to the Secret Agents Club. He does the Miss Kate looks very pleased with himself. He looks subtly smug. That's the way I describe it. But I thought they were very, very telling. Very telling. So what I'm planning to do in the next few days is build on this profile. Now, I have a PowerPoint with this profile that I'd started way back. And it's on my other computer. That PowerPoint presentation is on my other computer that I've got to wait to get back. So I had to take a screenshot. This is a screenshot from one of my videos. And these are the 10 points that I put together. And I've got numerous videos where I've gone through this profile. About, I don't know how many videos I've got now that I talked about this profile. But I developed it probably, I'm going to check actually. I'm going to check, hold on a minute. Look, under review. The profile video, when was that? When did I do it? I've done quite a lot of these videos, haven't I? There. A possible profile of the Idaho student slayer. November 24th. So we were actually only 11 days into the case when I put together this profile. And I haven't had any reason to change it as of yet. Although what I'm planning to do as we learn more about Bryan Kohberger is put meat on the bones of this and probably change a little bit of it. I think I'm out on maybe some of them. Lisa, why am I ignoring the chat? Because I'm concentrating on my content. I will come back to the chat, I promise. I'll come back to the chat. I'll ask you to answer. I'll try and answer. Once I've gone through this profile, I am going to come back to the chat and answer as many questions as I can. So if you've asked a question and it's been ignored, I do apologize, but when I'm watching my computer screen while I'm talking to you, and I've got the chat on my iPad by the side of me, so my vision's like distracted. Thank you, Natalie, for the $2. Like when somebody super chats, it comes up as a color, colored box, so I see it. But just the screen that is going by, just the comments that are going by, I can't read every single comment. So I do apologize. It's a crying shame. I'll talk about his veganism. I did go into some detail actually in my video today about his veganism. So I will talk about his veganism again. But I'm not going to talk about it in this stream because I did go into some depth on it this morning. And I don't want to just just say everything that I said this morning. I don't want this stream to just be a repeat of what I said this morning. But I do plan to talk about that aspect again in another video, because like I said, what I'm trying to do in the next few days is build up what we know about him. Some of it obviously will be speculative. Some of it will be factual. But at the moment, it's going to be a little bit difficult to tease out what is absolute fact from people that are speaking out about him, what is a little bit exaggerated, what is no longer relevant, so truthful, but no longer relevant to his life. So in relation to the veganism, we don't know if he was still vegan, because the aunt that talked about it said that it was several years ago. So we don't know if he's still vegan. So his veganism might not be relevant to the situation now. So it will be somewhat speculative, and it will be moving as we learn more. Then I'll be able to put more meat on these bones. These are just the bones. These were things, just 10 points that I put together based on psychological theory and the little that we knew about the crime. And I did this on the 24th. My first video of this slide was produced probably the 23rd. And then I did a video on it on the 24th. So I've not changed it since. So, Nelly, veganism can be about inner purity and diet plus OCD about that. He might not care about animals. If I talked about this morning, veganism is the wish to not play into the exploitation of animals. That's all veganism is. People who call themselves vegan because they don't eat animal foods in their diet because they're OCD about bacteria or cholesterol or whatever, they're not vegan. They're not vegan. That's my opinion as a vegan who's been a vegan nearly 7 years. As somebody who hasn't eaten meat since they were 11 because of I don't wish to eat my friends, I understand veganism. I know a lot of vegans. I've got vegan friends. I've got a lot of ex-vegan friends, people who were vegan, who are no longer vegan, people who believed they were vegan but weren't. So yeah, it's a complex subject. It's a complex subject, but I plan to get more into it because it's obviously very closely related to his psychological profile. So, but let's go through these points and see how close I was, given that I did this 11 days into the case. How close was I? So, assuming that Bryan Kohberger is the killer, right? The prosecutor believes he is. The judge believed there was probable cause for an arrest. The cops believe they've got their man. I personally believe they've got their man. However, everybody is innocent till proven guilty in a court of law. But let's take Bryan Kohberger. Let's assume that he is the killer. Let's go through these 10 points. So, male, yeah, tick. Known but not in a circle. Well, we believe that he wasn't in a circle. We believe he wasn't in a circle, but we don't know as of yet whether he knew them. Even just seen them a handful of times. We don't know that level of detail yet. So there's loads of social media profiles that have come online claiming to be him. There was at least 10. When I looked at Instagram on my live last night, when I looked at Instagram, there was about 10 profiles that were claiming to be Bryan Kohberger. So I have no idea. Now, there was a media outlet who said that he had no social media. So I don't know whether all of the profiles that have come out are fake, every single one, or whether some of them were genuine. I don't know. There's a dubious TikToker that's been talked about on Twitter that Twitter believes, the Twitterati believes is him. I don't personally believe it's him. It's a very disturbing video, though. Very disturbing. But, yeah. So we don't know. We don't know whether he knew any of them or whether this was just a house that he was aware of as a party house. And he started to watch it like Ted Bundy did of the sorority girls. Started to watch it and realised that 5 girls lived there. And obviously Ethan wasn't meant to be there. So, yeah, seriously, just started at the beginning, sped up 1.5. Hopefully we'll catch up. I do that. I very often do that. If I come into a live stream late, I speed it up to 1.5, and I've probably never caught up yet. Like it's ended, but I don't take my lives down, so you can just continue to watch after I start talking. Stop talking rather. So he was local. Now obviously he was from Pennsylvania, which is just about as far away from it as you can get, from Idaho as you can get, without living in the Atlantic Ocean. But for that semester he was living 8 miles away in Pullman. So even though it was another state, it was only 8 miles away. And students from the University of Idaho would socialize in Pullman. And then students from Washington State University would come over the state line and socialize in Moscow. So, the chances of him meeting them at a party, even if it's just once, meeting them at a party, talking to them, they forget all about him, but he doesn't, and he starts doing his research on them. So he was definitely local at the time of the murders. So we've got a tick for that. Killed before, but not a serial killer. Now, this relates to the question that I answered early on in this stream. Like, do I think that he's unalived anybody, a human, before? I don't know. When I said he's killed before, what I was talking about really in this profile was non-human animals. So we don't know about that either. We don't know whether he's killed non-human animals before, but not a serial killer. But as I said, if he hadn't been caught, I truly believe that his attitudinal and personality traits are sufficient for him to have become a serial killer. Truly believe. So we don't know. Well, we don't know about that yet. Military training or ex-military. And within that, I would also say military wannabe. So he's not been in the military as far as has come out so far. However, he did work in security, which I think is interesting. He did work in security at a school. So I think it's the high school that he used to go to. if I remember rightly. So he was a security guard, and he wanted to be, well, I don't know whether he wanted to be a cop, but certainly his interest in criminology was related to policing. So it's not quite military, but security, the authoritarianism, the control that you can have as a security guard, I think is interesting in itself. So he could have been a military wannabe. I don't know. So I'm not sure about that. So I'm going to put a question mark on that. I think that will be one that I'll change, or amend at least. Used to blood and have knife skill. Well, he clearly has skill using a knife. What we don't know at the moment is where he acquired that skill. So has he been hunting? I speculated that maybe the killer worked in an abattoir or as a butcher, so was just used to blood. But that doesn't appear to be the case, so that's kind of wrong. That's an aspect that's not true. But had he become used to blood in another way? I don't know. So where did he acquire his skill using a knife? Had he done that through research? So he didn't actually have his own experience, but had he done it through research? What we do know, though, is that he took up kickboxing when he was young. So kickboxing isn't about skill using weapons, but he could have associated with people who did have that skill. So vicariously, he could have acquired some skill. I don't know. That's a big question mark. I believe, now we know that he's not got a criminal record, or at least we think we know he's not got a criminal record. But what I will continue to speculate is that I think he's committed lower level crimes before. So even if he's not committed a murder before, I think what has happened is he's been committing lower level crimes before, not been caught, because maybe he has outsmarted the cops before. And this is an escalation. This murder is actually an escalation, so it's not come completely out of the blue. He has been committing crimes before, but not murders. So that remains to be seen. And as we discussed after the press conference, when I was chatting on my live after the presser last night, we were speculating in chat that I've forgotten what I was saying. Oh my word. I've completely forgotten what I was going to say. My mind's just gone completely blank. Do you ever do that? Do you ever do that? Oh, what was I saying? Someone remind me. Oh, that'll annoy me now. That will annoy me. Yeah, lower level crimes, but what was the point that I was making? Anyway, I don't know. But yeah, I think that... Oh, that was it. That they continued to ask for tips. So at the press conference, the police chief said that they still wanted people to send tips in. And we were speculating in chat that they were keeping the tip line open for one of the reasons was that potentially people would come forward now that his face is out there and his name's out there, would actually recognize him as somebody who'd committed a crime against them in the past, whether it would be a sexual assault or a physical assault, something like that, or a burglary, a break-in, something like that. And I think that's a very good reason to keep the tip line open. It's probably not the only reason to keep the tip line open, obviously, because they want to build a watertight case. They want to know everything that this guy was doing. But I think having people come forward who recognize him as, yeah, that guy was the guy that I caught on my security camera breaking into my house, or that was the guy who beat me up, or that was the guy that tried to rape me, right? That will be one of the reasons why they want tips. So I wonder whether this is another Russell Williams. Now, obviously, he's a lot younger than Russell Williams was when he got caught. But, you know, the ex-colonel, Russell Williams, you know him, he's a creepy dude, but he had absolutely no criminal record, high up in the Canadian military. Had actually been a pilot flying Queen Elizabeth. You know, his level of security clearance was sufficiently high that he could be in charge of an aeroplane flying the Queen. Right, that's how well he was trusted. But yet for years previous, he'd been breaking into homes, stealing underwear, masturbating in women's bedrooms, putting their underwear on and photographing himself whilst there. You know, I think one of them, the girl was only 12 or something, really young. And he was stealing underwear, and he had thousands of items of underwear that he'd stolen. But he'd been doing that for years before it escalated into committing sexual assaults. While he broke in, he committed sexual assaults, and he did a couple, and then he murdered twice. And one of the final time, the one that caught him, the one, you know, and he confessed, he made a full confession. He kept this woman, poor woman, alive for 24 hours. And Earl Grey, he wouldn't steal mine. He wouldn't steal mine either. He wouldn't steal mine either. Yeah, so was this guy another Russell Williams? You know, has he been committing things like break-ins and lower level crimes than murder? I mean, lower level, when you're talking about SA, you know, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that SA is a lower level crime, but it's lesser, legally speaking, it's less than murder. So I don't know. I think I will be utterly astonished if this guy has never committed a crime ever, and we'll never be able to prove it. Right? It will just mean that, you know, nobody comes forward or nobody recognizes him, you know. But I will be astonished if he's never committed, you know, if he's squeaky clean. I'll be astonished. Attitudinally, though, I think I'm going to stand by these. Hypermasculine. It doesn't look hypermasculine, but I think the fact that he targeted women, I think, is important. Now, it could turn out that he's the type of person that will target anybody that he considers weaker than himself. But the fact that he targeted a house full of young women leads me to believe that attitudinally there is some hypermasculine and misogynistic attitudes there. And when the person, I've taken the article down now, but the person who knows him from his grad program, who said that it made them feel uncomfortable, and he'd made some negative comments about LGBTQ people. I'd like to know the nature of those comments. I'd like to know the specific nature of those comments, because it could be that that's related to hypermasculinity and misogyny, but I don't know without knowing the specifics. Bobby, member for 14 months. Well done. Thank you for your continued support. Thank you so much. Tootsie May, member for 2 months. Thank you. Thank you for your continued support. It's very kind of you. Lorna. Now, we know this is true. We know this is true. That he wanted to socialise. This was, again, somebody from his grad programme said this. Wanted to socialise, but he was isolated because of the abusive comments or the uncomfortableness that he made people feel. So he was awkward, socially awkward, but probably not willing to learn not to make comments that are going to offend people. I don't know. And maybe he felt that he wasn't offending people. I don't know. Without knowing the specific nature of what those comments were, as I said. We do know that when he was living in Pullman, certainly for this semester, he was living alone in his apartment. We do know that. But where he lived in Pennsylvania before he started his PhD, because he's only been doing his PhD for 1 semester, I don't know the nature of his living arrangements. Some of you guys might know this by now, but I've not personally come across what his living arrangements were when he was living in Pennsylvania. Was he living with his parents? Was he living in a house share? What was the nature? So I think I was right on that anyway, that he's a loner. But people who are loners doesn't necessarily mean that they like to be alone. I do. I'm a loner and I like to be alone. I'm comfortable. But it seems that he wasn't comfortable. It seems that he wanted to socialize but was awkward. So maybe wasn't living alone at a choice. Bobby, thank you for the $5. So grateful for your dedication and expertise. You're very welcome. Narcissism, Machiavellianism. Those are 2 of the personality clusters that make up the dark triad. And I truly believe that if we could test him, he would measure high in narcissism and high in Machiavellianism. At the moment, that's just my opinion, but I'm even firmer on it now. But I don't know whether that 3rd prong of the dark triad, psychopathy, I don't know whether we're going to see that. I don't know enough about him as of yet to know that he was a psychopath. And I believe he was a lone wolf. So how close was my profile? It was pretty close, wasn't it? Well, I wasn't too far out. I think I was probably wrong on, the most wrong was military training, ex-military. But I'd be interested to know if when he was working in security, whether he was some kind of military wannabe. But yeah, I'll stand by this for the moment. I'll put a question mark on this. I want to know where he's learnt his knife skill from. I want to know. I want people to come forward. I really want people to come forward to the cops, but obviously the prior crimes eventually will come out to the public. I want people to come out to the cops if they know the guy, if he's victimized them in the past, if he's assaulted them in the past, if they believe that he's broken into their home in the past. I want all of those people to come forward to the cops. Please ring the tip line. Because it gives the cops a full profile of the full scope of what this guy's been doing. Because it wouldn't surprise me, really wouldn't surprise me. So that's my profile. So, yeah, I wasn't too far away, I don't think. Wasn't too far away. Oh, that's an interview with Steve Gonsalves. I don't think I'm going to talk about that at the moment, but... Okay, I'm back in chat now. I've covered my content. I don't think I'm going to play that interview. It was only 2 minutes anyway. But also an incel. Yeah, we don't know. Possibly through social awkwardness, maybe. He did work in security. Absolutely, he did. Yeah, absolutely. It's a fantastic job by law enforcement. They've done great work. Great work. Oh, thank you, Emily. Thank you. 20 odd years in psychology, I've learned some things. I've learned some things about serial killers. The reason why I think he's a serial killer fan, honestly, Shy 420, member for 4 months. Wow, thank you for the milestone chat from Callie. Oh, thank you. The reason why I think he's an SK fan is that the average person who studies criminology or forensic psychology has an interest in serial killers. I've had an interest in serial killers for so long. It predates my undergraduate degree in psychology. Like I said, one of the first serial killers that I had an interest in, that I wanted to find, I read books on, was Jeffrey Dahmer. And that predates my academic study and then my career in psychology. And I would imagine that probably 9 out of 10 forensic psychology or criminology students would tell you that they are interested or fascinated by or read books about or watch documentaries about serial killers. We in that line of work find the most extreme of the extreme fascinating. So I think he will know. The crimes of of Ted Bundy, of John Wayne Gacy. Maybe he will know Dahmer, but I don't believe he's the same kind of person as Dahmer, as I said before. And it's interesting that Israel Keys, do you know who Israel Keys is? He thought he could beat the cops, and he did. He did for many years. But he thought he could beat the cops, and his idol was Ted Bundy. So I think this guy is the same breed as Ted Bundy, Israel Keys. I'll put him in the same club, the same killers club as Bundy and Keys. Thank you, Jane, for the £10, my currency. Thank you so much. I will, I'll put him in the same killers club as those, because serial killers kill for many reasons. It's not true that all serial killers are sexual sadists. That is not true. I mean, Bundy was. Keys wasn't. Not properly anyway. And there are some serial killers who are absolutely no sexual content to the killing at all. And I'll bring you Dr. Harold Shipman, one of the most prolific serial killers in UK history. I'll bring you Nurse Beverly Allett. I'll bring you Nurse Louise Letby, recent case in the UK. They're classed as serial killers. I mean, Dr. Harold Shipman killed over 200 people, it's estimated. And there was nothing sexual at all about that at all whatsoever. Not that we know of anyway. So it's not true that all serial killers are sexual sadists. However, we don't know. We don't know what's in the mind of Bryan Kohberger, do we? All we know is what the cops have told us, is that from the autopsies, there was no sign of sexual assault. But that doesn't mean that there wasn't a sexual fantasy element to it. We don't know what he did afterwards, or we don't know what he did at the crime scene once they were dead. I mean, I don't want to, I'm sure you can imagine where I'm going to go if I continue to talk. We don't know what he did sexually. We know that they weren't sexually assaulted, or at least there's no evidence of that in the autopsies, which is, you'd be thankful for small mercies, I guess, that none of them were raped. But there could have been other types of sexual behavior. That's what I'm saying. Thank you, Daria. Put a lock on my bedroom door after this case. It's so frightening. And I continue to go to bed and forget to lock my door. Oh dear. Where are we with the thumbs ups? Because my iPad isn't updating the thumbs ups. When I've got, and I can't see the thumbs ups on StreamYard. It won't update. It's telling me I've got 21 thumbs ups. That's all. Hold on, I'll just put YouTube on. Just for a minute. That's all. Hold on. Oh, 998 thumbs up. 1K thumbs ups. Woohoo! Woohoo! Well done, guys. All right, at the end of the stream, I'm going to give some memberships away. Going to give some memberships away. So stay to the end. I'm not going to keep you very much longer, but let's see if you've got any questions, and then I'm going to sign off. How long have I been on? No, we've been on nearly an hour and a half. So you keep wasp spray by your bedside, do you? When I say that I forget to lock my door, I actually do have in my bedroom. I actually do have a Japanese katana, which is a type of sword. I have a bokken, which is a Japanese. It's made of wood. It's what the Japanese use for training in the katana art. It's just a wooden version of a sword. It feels very different. I actually like working with a bokken. I've got a pair of nunchucks, which I'm rubbish at using, honestly. So I'd never use nunchucks in a fight. I've got a baseball bat. What else have I got? I've got a whip. Yeah, bullwhip. So yeah, I've got a few weapons in my house. So maybe that's why I'm not afraid to sleep with my door open. In summer, I'm not lying. In summer, I sleep with my back door wide open. Like literally wide open in summer. And then complain that the dogs go out barking at the crack of dawn. But yeah. So, and obviously I have 2 dogs. Weapons overload. Yeah, got a whip. I might have 2, actually. I might have 2. That's in change. Need a whip. Oh dear. Oh dear. Yeah. If somebody did a profile on me, I'd look like I've got like a serial killer personality, wouldn't I? Like I've got multiple weapons in my house, and I actually know how to. I'm trained in using them. I've not trained for a lot of years in stuff like, you know, sword work or anything like that, but I do have some sword skill, I'm sure. I'm trained in martial arts and black belt martial artist. I'm a forensic psychologist. That's what my PhD's in. I'm self-confessed true crime buff, so much so that I run 2 true crime channels on YouTube. Can you see that if somebody did a profile on me, that I'd look very, very suspicious? So, you know, if there's any murders in my local area and people start digging on social media and find me, they'll be convinced, absolutely convinced that I'm the killer. And I'm a loner. Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh dear. Dear me. Yeah. Last thing you want is to be bit by a bullwhip. Yeah, absolutely. And also, do you know that you can use a dog lead as a garrote? I'm not going to tell you how I know that. Wow, that's amazing. Defended us with a pillow like a pillow fight, like a genuinely serious pillow fight. Actually, a pillow against a knife. Actually would work. Actually would work. Yeah, it would work. Has anybody got any questions before I give some memberships away? Some New Year's Eve memberships. Too old to fight and too slow to run, so I carry heat. I'm too slow to run, absolutely. I'm not too old to fight. I'll never be too old to fight. Never be too old to fight. I might not win, but I'll never be too old to fight. Thank you, Angel. You've told me that before. I think you have. I think it was you that said that before. Wow. Kansas Washer shoots out 25. Wow. My word. It's a good idea, actually. I've got some flea spray, some household flea spray in my room. From the last time the dogs had fleas, would have been in the summer. The dogs picked up fleas. So I sprayed my bedroom with, I sprayed the whole house, actually, with household flea spray. And it's still in my room. It's still in my bedroom. It's on my desk in my room. So I've got some flea spray. I think that's probably similar to wasp spray. So Lancashire Fire. Yay. Lancashire Fire. We do. We have. I've noticed. I've absolutely noticed. We are going to be giving up some memberships here in a few minutes. Wish you could have a membership. It's not me that decides who gets them. Let me tell you. Oh, you're gonna burn your house down, though. You can burn your house down. I'm doing flea spray. It could work, you know. Household flea spray. I mean, it's horrible stuff. It stinks. Spray that in someone's eyes. They're going to be put off the guard, aren't they? You know, just enough. It's just enough time to kick them in the balls, put them on the floor, put them in a throat throw, put them in a headlock, garrote them. There's a whole heap of things that you can do once somebody's off the guard. That's the idea, putting somebody off the guard. So, yeah, right. I'm getting silly now. And I'm incriminating myself. So I'm going to give some memberships away. Right, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do this on my iPad? I've never tried to do this on my iPad before. Oh, it's not letting me give the options. So I'm going to have to do it on this computer and do it on YouTube. Hold on. All right. I'm not sharing my screen, am I? Because I don't want my credit card details on. I didn't know that iPads, you can't gift memberships on iPads. I didn't know that. It only lets me do super sticker or super chat. But it lets me gift memberships on my computer. So that's what I'm going to do. Double checking that I'm not giving my... All right. So I am going to gift 20 memberships. I'm going to give 20 memberships for New Year's Eve. So how this works, if you're not familiar with membership gifting, is I pay for them. And YouTube gives you a membership for 1 month, after which time, after the month, it will just automatically stop. So it won't like take money out of your bank next month. It will just stop unless you choose to pay, and then you can continue your membership after the month's up. So it gives you 1 free month. And it's not me that decides, it's YouTube that decides. It's the algorithm that decides who gets them. So it's to do with interaction, like your interaction with the channel. I don't know how it's worked out. It must be the amount of comments you do, or I don't know. I don't know how it does it, how it knows. So I am going to do 20 memberships, and I am buying them now. I'm buying them now. Right now. I've got the spinning wheel of death at the moment. Just take a minute. Let's have a look. There we go. gift has been announced in live chat. There we go. Gifted 20 memberships. Let's see who gets them. Oh, this chat's flying now. Right, hold on. Let me try and get who's got them. All right, Karma Police gifted. Oh, it's jumped. Oh, it's hard work, this. All right, let's have a look. Elsie, Morgan. I thought you were already a member, Morgan, but anyway. Laura, Earl Grey, Aurora, Empsy, Nelly. Oh, it's jumped. It's jumped. Oh, it's flying. Hold on, I'll have to go back up. Oh, dear me. Oh, there we go. Clary, Denise, Jackie, Rebel with a Shih Tzu, Insta Justice, Star Winters, Cammy, a name I'm not even going to try to read. I think it says Savannah. Jeffrey, Glitter Witch. I thought you remember as well, Glitter Witch. Whiskey Boots, Melissa, and I think that's it. So well done for everybody who got a membership there. So you will be a member for the next month. You will now be able to see the members' videos. So there's some little videos, and then there's a few members' lives as well. I think I forgot 5 members' lives, 4 or 5 members' lives. Let me see. I did Michael Vaughan, Rosemary Bly, Barry Morphew, Brian Laundrie, and Jeffrey Dahmer, I think. I think those are the 5 that I've done. So you can dig into those. That's a few hours worth of watching. There's a couple of bloopers on there. There'll be another blooper on there soon when I get my laptop fixed. A few kind of small videos. Sometimes I kind of put little videos on, just asking a question, like, what do you think about this, or what do you think about that, or what did this person say, you know. So yeah, check out the members playlist, and enjoy. Bug Love, welcome to Secret Agents. As a mod, I think mods automatically should get memberships, but I can't do that. I'd give my mods memberships. I'd give my mods memberships, but I can't. It doesn't give me the option to give a particular person a membership. It doesn't. I wish it would, because then, you know, people who are willing to give their time to moderate for the channel, you know, I'd like to give you a free membership, but I can't. It's not an option for YouTube. YouTube hasn't. Maybe sometime in the future it will give mods let the creator pay for mods to have a membership. But at the moment, YouTube decides when anybody, whether it's me or someone else. Angel gifted memberships earlier. So actually there's 25 new members just from this live. 25 new members just from this live. So I'm seeing a lot of people with green coats on in the chat. It's awesome. So anyway, all right, I'm going to let you go. I don't like to do lives longer than kind of 2 hours because they become unwatchable. And this was just a nice chat that I kind of wanted to do New Year's Eve. So I will bid you farewell. I hope that you have a fantastic New Year's Eve, whatever you're doing. And I hope you had a fantastic New Year's Eve if you've already had it. If you're in Australia or New Zealand, you've already had it, or that part of the world anyway. Mom of 4, thank you so much for the $4.99. Love my show. Thank you. Yeah, have a great few hours that are remaining of 2022. And I'm going to wish you and yours all the best for 2023. Obviously, I'm going to speak to you very soon anyway. I was speaking to you tomorrow because I'll be doing a video tomorrow. I don't think I'll be live tomorrow, but I'll be doing a video tomorrow. So technically, I'll be speaking to you tomorrow. But yeah, thank you everybody for being really respectful in chat as always. I have a great chat. We get the occasional troll, but hey, who cares? Thank you to the mods. Thank you so much for those who've joined the memberships, those who've given super chats and super stickers. It's all very much appreciated. So I will bid you farewell, and I'll speak to you very soon. Bye, guys. Bye-bye.